Is your dog nipping at your hands or jumping on guests or jumping on your kids? That's a pretty common problem. Clients often come to us with those issues. We teach the dog obedience, we teach the dogs context, and try to help them have the ability to recognize those contexts. There are natural behaviors that we have to deal with, but this is just going to be like a brief, like, little talking head video that describes what I think is a lot of times, most of the time, the best approach to take in this scenario, and like a few things to consider about it. So I'll start off with a few things to consider, and I'll probably do an upgraded video that isn't just this like random talking head video in the future, but for now this is what we're going to do. So some context stuff is, one, you have to make sure that you are not contributing to the problem in a serious way. Otherwise, we would end up being like very unfair to the dog. As an example, if you are, like going, "Oh, yeah, good job, little buddy. Oh my God, you're so cute," and you're bending down, you're getting really close to them, you're like, you're grabbing them and being like, "Oh," and grabbing them and stuff, and then they jump on you, or they're starting to get like a little mouthy or something like that. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much invited it, so that wouldn't be a fair time to then, get on them about it and try to like be like, "No, don't do that," and put a bunch of authority on them. That's just not good timing, right? Not good awareness of what signals you're sending to the dog, because the way dogs play with each other, they mouth each other, they bite at each other, they nip at each other, they have fun, they jump on each other. Just imagine a couple of dogs playing together in a dog park, or in your backyard, or over at your friend's house or something like that. That's what they're doing. They're jumping all over each other. They're nipping each other. They're mouthing each other. So if you're putting off those signals to your dog, and then you get on their case for them doing something that, in their mind, you invited, that doesn't track very well. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, there are context clues for dogs, and you want to help them have clear context cues so that they know very clearly when things are good to do and when things are bad to do. So as an example, say that you have guests over in the house. That might be a clear context for them that you can set, that, hey, look, maybe even just generally in the house, only calm activities, right? They can be free, they can be loose. That's what we want. We don't want like, "Oh, just put them on the place bed." Don't do that. That's band-aided dog training. We don't do band-aids. We need to actually like teach. So teaching them how to live with you in that case is just about a context thing here, right? So you want to teach them that that's a place that they need to be calm in, and it needs to be clear to them that that's the case. The way to get that kind of clarity is to enforce it, right? So those are a couple of things to consider, right? Because there's other contexts where some of those activities might not be all that bad, right? So as an example, perhaps you are playing with your dog outside, and they start jumping all over you, and maybe you're the kind of person that like that's fun for you, and you're doing personal play with your dog, and they jump on you and stuff like that, and you're like, all right, whatever, it's all good, I don't mind. So there's the context thing to consider. But the last thing is, what about when you're in a context, and this is really what we want to talk about here. What if you're in a context where you never want them to do it again? Say, for example, jumping on guests, or jumping on your children inside the house, or nipping at your hands, like unprompted, at just like without being very like without being baited, basically. What about that? Well, if you made sure that you're being fair to your dog, and they're in a context where it's unacceptable, then you need to punish them. And what that means is it needs to be very clear to the dog and to you that they're being punished. So how is it clear to you? Well, it'll be clear to you by the reaction that your dog gives you. Similarly to when you reward your dog, it is clear to you that they're being rewarded by their reaction. They're like, right? And they get really excited. They might get zoomies. Like you want to see a really happy emotional state, super happy attitude. You want to see all of that. Well, vice versa, you want to see that, but in reverse, if you're supposed to be punishing them. So if you don't see evidence that you punished them, you did not punish them. It didn't work, right? Now, we have examples on our YouTube of us doing this. I have several of them that are just kind of embedded in, longer videos that are full, like, training sessions or portions of full training sessions. So I would have to dig those out. But I have one that I labeled, like actually punishing a dog, like how to punish a dog. That one's with a little dachshund named Milo. But I have other ones that have been recorded. I have one with Wiley. I have one with Nash that hasn't been uploaded yet. And I have other ones. And I can upload those as examples. But I can describe it for you. What you want to do is have it where it's in a leashed scenario, if possible, because it just makes things a little bit easier. Or if you have an e-collar on them, as long as you have a leash on them too, that can be workable. And essentially, you want to shut everything down. Kind of like if your kid punched somebody in the face, you wouldn't just go, "Oh, hey, don't do that." Like if they did something that was more minor, like yelled at a kid, you might just be like, "Hey, no yelling at kids. Don't yell at people," right? But if they hauled off and punched them in the face, that's not what your response would be. You would be shutting it down, right? They might lose whatever it is that they love the most for a couple of weeks. There would be some significant punishments involved, correct? So it's the same thing here. You want to shut down all fun. All the situation is just shut down, and it's going to last longer than you might initially think it should, right? Because you need to get a serious reaction so that they remember it, so that it sticks, and they're like, "I'm never going to do that again. Never, ever again." So what that might look like is you immediately initiate punishment, right? Even without a conditioned punisher. You don't say nope, you don't do anything. You just start, you pop them, or you tap the e-collar if you have them on leash, and pop them at the same time. And you really put social pressure on them, right? You get on top of them, not literally like an alpha roll or something like that. No, you're in their bubble, and you pop and you tap the e-collar, and I mean, if they yelp or something like that, that's fine. It's supposed to be not enjoyable, even painful, potentially, right? So it's supposed to be a very aversive experience. That's the whole point, because we learn when aversives are used ourselves, right? We learn through those kinds of experiences, and we learn not to do things again. So do dogs. And the best way to communicate that to them is with clarity. So I would do something like say, nope, and then pop them, nope, and then pop them, nope, and then pop them, probably, 5, 6, maybe even 7 or 8 times, right? I really want to see them go, ugh, suppress, like they got in big trouble, okay? So that's what you want to get out of it, and you want everything else to shut down. You don't want them, if they're still looking around and doing something else, or they're still kind of if they still look like they have any happiness at all, you didn't do it right. They need to look crushed, completely like I'm in trouble. Oh no, right? Just like if you have a 3 or 4-year-old, which is what they're roughly equivalent to, in terms of mental capacities, just without the ability to understand language or talk, in the same way, they might cry, because you punished them, but that's okay, because you know that it was something important for them to learn. So it's the same thing with the dog. You shouldn't feel bad about it, because if you've trained your dog properly, you can just right after that experience go, okay, or break, right, and be like, good job, good, yep, right, and just like release them back into fun. They might look a little for a second, but then like try to make it clear to them, like run around with them, throw a ball for them if they like the ball, play tug with them, get them over into the bushes, encourage them, be like, go pee on that tree, buddy, or like, like go do this, or like get them like woohoo, and bring their emotional state back up through verbal encouragement, through play, through those kinds of things, and you'll be right back at it, but they'll just have had a learning experience about nipping at somebody's hands, or about jumping on someone, or about lunging at someone, or whatever other bad thing that they did that you never want them to repeat. So that's what I would do in that scenario, and it's very quick, it's very effective, and it's very long lasting. That kind of thing very often has produced single event learning for me, where they don't do that thing again for a long time. And if they do, you give them exactly the same result, and then it takes even longer for it to repeat, and maybe never. I've had that happen where I never heard about it repeating again. It just went away. So that's my recommendation here.